Bombastic, off Brick Lane, is Mumbai slum chic with a Bollywood twist. Cocktails are named after tropical diseases of the gut, and 6 to 7 p.m. is Hopi hour because the owner got confused about the Indian theme. But it's near Charlie's office, and Sedge works here part-time, so that's where the meeting happens. April, 27, wears thrift shop vintage from Chicago, Balinese funeral jewellery, and children's trainers by George at Asda. Her heavy frame specs are plain glass since she had her eyes lasered last year. She's aware of the irony. April is, what else? An independent film director. I know what you're thinking, but gentle listener, forbear. You cannot possibly hate April more than she will come to hate herself, and that's a promise. Charlie's 28, but thanks to his edgy, vibrant lifestyle, cocaine washed down with triple Sagatibas, Marlboro Mediums and Red Bull for breakfast, looks 10 years older. He wears sunglasses all the time, partly for the look, but mostly to hide his pink ping-pong eyeballs. He's rake-thin and lamppost tall, a beacon of blagging debauchery. Charlie is a producer/editor. He's made mostly ads and virals so far for websites, boutiques, pop-up magazines, festivals, and girls he's trying to sleep with. He wants to get into bed with April. Sweet, petite, minor award-winning April in more ways than one, so he's agreed to work on the project. Sedge is not his real name. He grew up in Preston, Lancashire, a place no other screenwriters, to his knowledge, ever hailed from, and up there parents call their children by sensible commonplace names from the Bible, or else generations-old family names, which is why his full name is Bernard Sedgwick, and also, not uncoincidentally, why he insists on being called Sedge. He's written 2 unproduced screenplays, 4 webisodes of Skins, and a short about mortician-beauticians called Anal Glue, the rough cut of which vanished, a victim of Arts Council belt tightening, before post-production, its existence as brief and beautiful as a butterfly's dream. The project came to Sedge in a blinding flash, one Cointreau-fuelled night in Shoreditch House, and he immediately took it to April, who'd assistant-directed Anal Glue, because he knew she was looking for the next big thing, and he was anxiously certain, somehow, that this was it. Sedge, with typical writer's inarticulacy, only pitched it to her after 6 Japanese beers and half a joint smoked furtively on the East Rooms terrace, but she instantly grasped its importance and promised, serious-browed, to give it her all and rarely punch it home. Sedge gets shudders at the thought of doll-like April doing either of these things, and he sunk £1,000 of his compensation money, don't ask, to get her on board. After several rounds of yellow fevers and a pitcher of dengue, Charlie, Sedge and April are very excited about the project, indeed. I'm very excited, says Charlie, dully. After years of negotiating deals with only balls and bullshit on his side, the more boring Charlie's voice gets, the more interested he is. April's never heard him so monotone. She knows this means that this is it. The big one, the showcase, the break, the one that gets you places. Sundance, Cannes, even, whisper it, BAFTA. So she's excited too, and lays it on the line. The thing is, April says urgently, this is like major shit. Am I right, Charlie? Charlie, returning from the toilet for the 6th time, nods, twitches and sniffs. Sedge hopes their producer's not developing a cold. Right, says April, and Sedge is a major talent, no doubt. Major, agrees Charlie. I promise you, Sedge, says April, we'll take your wonderful, beautiful script and turn it into a shitload of money, yelps Charlie. His ennui suddenly burned away along with half his septum. April silences him with a glare through Kerouac frames. Something we can all be proud of, yeah? Sedge nods. Charlie's head bobs, though whether in agreement or in time to the banger and bass, it's hard to tell. So, she says, the first thing we need to do, once you've done casting and locations and shit, is to purge all the crap ideas and impulses and bad art that creep into this whole fucking life of ours, yeah? Her slender, bangled arm indicates the whole of Shoreditch. The project has to be pure, okay? Untainted by commercialism, hackneyed ideas, cliches and banality. This baby has to sing. It has to be all it can be, yeah? You up for that? She leans eagerly over the low table and her small, mesmerising gymnast's breasts nose forward like inquisitive rabbits under her cut-off Thomas Pink shirt. Sedge and Charlie nod. They are definitely up for that. It's day one of brainstorming. They're in a Stepney warehouse Charlie woke up in once after a midsummer rave. It seems to be abandoned, so they've made it their office cum studio and will be filming the dream sequences here. It's fucking freezing, but Charlie's coffee surprise, the surprise is the gin, warms Sedge's entrails in what may not turn out to be a good way. 2 flip charts, says April, standing in front of them like General Franco's middle management facilitator, a marker in either hand. On my left, good ideas. Sensitive, real, truthful, pure. On my right, shit ones. Crass, commercial, Michael Bay, Richard Curtis, mass-feeding pap. We all have them. Let's not be afraid. Shout them out, yeah? There's an embarrassed silence. Charlie looks confused, and Sedge, whose septic tank of shit ideas normally overflows, is dumbstruck. War and horror, right? Says April, but not as we know it. We're making psychological horror. Naturally, holding the cracked mirror up to the inhumanity that is man. Oh, wait a sec, that's quite good. She scribbles it on the virgin sheet to her left. Where was I? Oh yeah, true horror. We're going to shock and scare the viewer in a good way, obviously. But what the public associates with war and horror films is a Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger style dross, yeah? So we're going to clean our heads out of all this bullshit, starting with you. She fires her marker at Charlie. I like Alien, he says hesitantly. Yes, April says impatiently. We all liked Alien. Alien is good. What's bad? I'm looking for bad here, Charlie. Alien 3, says Sedge suddenly. His brain creaks into gear. With the clones, Charles Dance bangs Sigourney Weaver. That bloke off Who's the Boss, he's in it. April winces. Joe McGann. Yeah, that's the stuff. She writes clones and McGann brackets any on the right-hand flip chart. Nazis, says Charlie suddenly, grinning as if in fond recollection. Jaws 2, Sedge adds. Any film with sharks. April scrawls industriously. Sedge is warming up, starting to enjoy this game. Their mental sewers have miraculously unblocked, and he and Charlie let them gush. Trenches, cries Charlie. The girlfriend's photo in his pocket. The gruff sergeant with a heart of gold. The goose-stepping leather trench coat Gestapo guys with the duelling scars. Even Sedge realises that Charlie has segued straight from First to Second World War, apparently without realising, but April doesn't seem to care. After 3 hours and 2 more refills of coffee surprise, they have 8 flip chart pages of rubbish ideas, and one, widely spaced, of good ones. See, says April, how easy it is to come up with crap. How tough it is to keep the good stuff pure. Charlie and Sedge nod like schoolboys, astonished into learning something. The sheet on the left says, gay, conscientious objector, stretcher bearer in World War I. Addicted to the morphine he uses on the dying. Pain of life, too much to bear. Metaphor too obvious? Dies during Christmas Day football match, saving Germans' equalising goal. The right-hand one sports a chaos of hoary shocker ideas, including Nazis, sharks, aliens, serial killers, anything to do with the Vatican or ancient texts, cyborgs, time travel, genetic engineering, and clowns. That side, April explains, is the shittiest pile of money-spinning, lowest common denominator trash Hollywood ever optioned. We'll call it... She glances briefly, contemptuously over the list of tropes. Nazi sharks in a trench. And into that trench is where we'll throw every commercial, sellout, humdrum idea we have. And on the left, says April softly, is the film we all know we can make. The film we must make. The vision we all share. And the name of that film is... She looks at Sedge, inclining her head like a worshipful geisha. Unbearable. As filming begins, Sedge has never been so thrilled. April has never been so creatively fulfilled, and Charlie has never done so much coke. He gets everyone he knows in a froth of near sexual excitement about Unbearable, about the tears it'll jerk, the awards it'll win, the proles it will enlighten, and ultimately, for isn't that, after all, the real point? The names it will make. To wit, his. Every shit idea they have, they dutifully channel into Nazi sharks. Crew joins in enthusiastically. Robot sharks! Genetically modified Nazis, Kung Fu aliens. And the right-hand flip chart gets fuller. Slowly, surely, Unbearable. That poem of a film. That elegant Mozartian symphony of celluloid freighted with anime, filigreed with heart-clenching melancholy, is made, or makes itself, dreams itself into being with light and shadow, as April sometimes thinks at 4 a.m. on a night shoot, fired by Charlie's inspiration powder. Sedge is awed by her, by the process, by the fact that an idea inspired by his great-granddad's war stories over Boxing Day turkey is opening like a flower. And it's more beautiful than he could ever have imagined. The night before the premiere, at a semi-derelict indie bingo hall, Charlie invites Sedge and April and the crew round to his to watch the final cut. Into the hushed silence afterwards, he throws a single glittering DVD, another couple of grainy white baggies, and a gleaming, cranked-up smile. "I couldn't sleep last night," he says. "I've got a surprise for everyone." He and Sedge, on a mash-up of Ketamine Speed and Ginster's Pasties, have cut together the outtakes and deleted scenes of Unbearable with some out-of-copyright footage from the Discovery and History channels. And this is the result. A 2-minute trailer for Nazi sharks in a trench. Have you guessed it? Perhaps the world being what it is, you have. for while unbearable and director April are duly BAFTA nominated, it's the trailer for Nazi Sharks that goes viral, finding its way to the tablet of one exceptionally successful director of blockbusters who options it, brokering an unprecedented writer-producer deal with its fearsomely talented Newsweek co-creators Charlie Morris and Bernard Sedgwick. It's Charlie and Sedge who benefit from the tie-in sales, the action figures, the Happy Meal giveaways, the T-shirts, the willing groupies, and the fawning interviews on highly rated chat shows. But who, in the end, is the richer? The girl who stuck to her guns, directing low-budget art films for little pay and less recognition, or the boys who made it big at the expense of a shell-sized hole in their souls? Perhaps neither. Perhaps both, thinks April, as she glances across the studio to where Jonathan Ross sits, sporting an official T-shirt on which Samuel L. Jackson as General Haig scowls over the stenciled legend, "Get those motherfucking sharks out of my motherfucking trench!" She's here to talk about her forthcoming no-holds-barred tell-all, Nazi Sharks, the uncut story. What did you expect? This is the movies. Everybody sells out in the end. Besides, she's planning to use the book money to fund her latest project, the one that will win her long-coveted BAFTA, perhaps even a Palme d'Or or a Golden Bear. It's a story based on something Sedge told her one night shoot about his other grandfather, a deaf-mute Jewish cabinet maker who escaped from Stalin's Russia by pretending to be a French mime. And this time, she's not leaving anything to chance. She's going to write, direct, and produce it solo. Her vision will remain unsullied by sharks, Nazi or otherwise. Unspeakable will be hers alone. Pure and beautiful and Oscar fucking gold.